Hey everyone, I thought we'd do something a little different today. Instead of playing a game, we're gonna review a game. And not just one of my games, not any old game. We're gonna look at a professional game. Now, the game we're gonna look at was played recently on September 4th, 2019. It was the first game of the Samsung Cup final. And it was played between Tang Wei Ching, who was black, and Yang Dingjin, who was white, both 9 Dan professionals. Now, when I was recently looking at this game, I was really excited about it because we see one player really favoring the AI inspired tactics, and the other player just not having it. So we see a very interesting face off, very um, timely battle between these new tactics and a different style. So I thought it'd be worth going over and sort of talking through. I think it would be not only helpful for myself, but maybe interesting to others. So let's dive into this game. Now, black opens up with a 3-4. And white does the same. Black takes another one. And then here we see, interestingly, white take the 3-3 in the opening, saying that, which tells us that white really wants to play a more territorial game. And we'll see that this greeting, we can say, plays out as we would expect. White does indeed continue the narrative of telling black, hey, I want the territory. So black approaches the top left corner. White kosumis. And then black takes a large enclosure on the right hand side. Then it's white's turn to approach. So white approaches the bottom right hand corner. Black attaches. White hanes, black backs off, and white connects. And then black finishes the Joseki down at 03. And then white takes the extension to defend those 3 stones. So then black takes an extension on the left. So far, so good, Then white takes a large knight on the right, again defending that group over there. Now black comes over to the left-hand corner and plays high. We can't quite call this an extension from the 2 stones on the top left because it's too far. It's 5 spaces away. And it's a little distant to be approaching the corner, but it's maybe trying to do a little bit of both. And also approaching high because white is down low, trying to play for territory, so black is coming in high for that influence. So, what white does, which I didn't expect, is a 2-space extension down on the 3rd line. Really, really telling black, hey, I want territory. So you could play around up there on the 4th line, but I'm going to take all this down low territory. So black ignores that somewhat of a small move to then go again approach the left top corner. And then we get this move. This, I don't know how to describe it other than completely insane. Instead of defending the 2 stones up in the top left or pincering and attacking that stone that black just played, white shoulder hits the black stone at d6. And shoulder hits it high. So it seems like white is trying to uh, diminish the influence of black, but that white stone is not, it's not attached to anything. It's not, where's it gonna go? Like, it has a group up here in the top left, like, but black is right there. It's not gonna make its way up there. Maybe it's hoping to sort of surround and connect back up with these two stones down here. But remember, they're way down on the third line. So this is a lot of space right here. It is going to be really hard for white to connect up with them to try and save this stone if it comes under attack. And his other group is on the other side of the board. So it's a good reduction tactic, but where is it going? And also out of character with this territorial based strategy that white has been showing so far. So the narrative is pretty broken at this point. What's black going to do about it? What will black respond to? How do we respond to insane people? By not engaging. So black ignores, plays away, and attaches to the white stone over at R13 to begin attacking that group. So then white Hanes, and then black crosscuts, because the crosscut is good for black here because they both have stones somewhat locally, but black's other black stone is here, just 2 spaces away. Or, I'm sorry, 1 space away. White's stone is 2 spaces away. So the crosscut would be good for black here. White tries to run away. Black Ataris. White runs again and begins to try and net the black stone. Black moves away. And we can begin to see that black is starting to take a pretty sizable corner here. So if we take a minute to see what each of the players have, black has this big corner. Black has this other pretty sizable corner in the lower right-hand side. Then black also has some potential up here on the top side and the left-hand side. White has some territory on the right here. Not much going on in the top left corner. These 2 stones will probably have to run out. And then that little bit of third line territory in the bottom left. So for playing a territorial game, white is kind of lacking on the territory. And it looks like black is ahead at this point. So now that the top right is... now that white has defended itself, he will go back and play in the middle left. Because remember, that shoulder hit stone over there wasn't really doing anything. It was kind of crazy, so it really needed a follow-up move to do something. But still, we gotta ask, what is it doing? Because by descending, it seems to be attacking this one black stone here and trying to enclose it with the 2 stones at the bottom. But look at how much space is in between. We have 1, 2, 3 lines. There is no way that white is going to enclose out 1 stone or whatever comes to help it with those 3 lines right there. Black is easily going to slip out of that. So it seems like the shoulder hit created more complications than it fixed. And now white is kind of struggling at this point. We'll see it. Maybe white can pull something off. But right now, it seems like this tactic is not going to go anywhere. So, again, black ignores. Because this lower left-hand corner is just a lot of hopes and dreams for white at this point. So black plays a 1-space jump over in the top left to attack those 2 stones. Take away the tiger mouth shape that it can make to try to make eye shape and live in the corner. Eventually white will have to run out. Now, here's another crazy move that white makes. Playing at q17 in the top right corner. So, as I said, this corner seemed like it was black's. But white could perhaps jump in and do something. There's definitely some unsettledness here with this cutting point and these two white stones here, perhaps trying to connect up and enclose. So white is trying to maybe exploit that a little bit. But if black defends solidly, that could disappear quite quickly. So black plays low at p18, making sure that white can't run out to the left. And then white abandons that invasion. So then white plays a large knight over on the left-hand side, trying to create a little space for those two stones right below it. And black plays what I think is a really brilliant move here, because it puts pressure on those two white stones at the same time as it's making more shape for its two stones there on the left-hand side. So it's gaining that shape, and it's yet again attacking these two stones, sort of making sure that it has most of the space in that corner. So now white has no option as to jump out, which we've been expecting for quite some time. So at this point, I would expect black to jump out here at e12 and continue cutting off those stones and growing its territory. But here we have another case of black ignoring, because I think the player realizes, Wei Qing realizes, that those stones running away probably aren't going to go anywhere. Yet another large attempt at something by white that may fizzle out in the end. So instead, black plays away into the lower left-hand corner and begins putting pressure on those two stones on the bottom that are trying to secure their two lines of territory down there. So white counters by attacking the higher black stone. Black Hanes, white Ataris, black descends, and then white tries to make more shape for the group at the bottom. And then black starts to come out. And then Ataris the white stone, white defends, black jumps out again. So we can see what we were anticipating before about how there's just so much space in between that original stone that shoulder hit black at d6. That stone was e7. It just gave too much room for black to jump out. We can already see that black could probably make an I down here on the left and is connected up and out into the center of the board. So white is left with 1 to 2 lines of territory on the bottom and another group to defend here in the middle left. So this, what was maybe an attempt at an attack, is what started out as that is not looking so good for white right now. So white tries to build up and stop black from coming out. Black then begins trying to build I shape on the bottom. Atari's white. White defends. And then look at that. Those 2 lines of territory are now even reduced smaller to 1. So black is basically saying, you want territory, white? Go ahead. Here's your few points. I'm just going to jump out and continue taking everything. So black turns here, which is really good. And white extends, still low, still extending low. For this group, that might be the right decision. But white really needs to do something to turn this game around, because right now it's looking like black is ahead. So black ignores that tiny extension and says, okay, go ahead, protect that group there. I'm going to begin attacking that weak group you just created in the middle left. So here we see another cross cut, because again, it's good for black. White starts to run. Hanes, black Ataris. White descends. And now it kind of looks like black is the one in trouble. So if we go back one, we can see that black may have been off a little more than he could chew. And it looks like he is now given life to this weak group. So black tries to Atari out, and then white ends up being able to connect that weak group with those stones that were running from the corner. So black takes, and white descends, effectively beginning to kill off these two stones and maintain the connection between those two groups. So black's these two stones, if they are dead, then the two stones above them are also being surrounded and under threat. So black jumps into the corner to try and save himself. White descends to push on him. Black defends, and then white jumps out, finally trying to expand and take more territory and push black down. So black goes back and fixes, making sure that he is fully alive on the left-hand side, because to give up those stones and that entire corner would just be too much. It would be game over at that point. And white descends to make sure that the two stones over here are still dead. No saving those, white says. So then black comes over here and plays ascends with these two stones, trying to protect these. Again, looking for his weakest group, and then defending. White Hanes. And then black returns with the Hane. And white double Hanes, creating a lot of cutting points for this group here that is now becoming surrounded. So what looked like a good strategy of jumping out here at G16, beginning to expand, is now leading to the creation of more weaknesses for white. Black backs off and says, oh, I'll just take this giant rectangle on top. Why not? And instead of fixing those cutting points, white pursues, and black draws out another one, because black does not want to get Haned here. That would allow white to start getting in and take away that giant rectangle that black is trying to build right there. So black extends, and then white realizes, hey, I may need to protect this group here, and make sure that I don't begin getting completely surrounded. So white jumps out, and black goes and undercuts the base, or a potential base of that group. So white defends by Ataring the black stone, and beginning to create some eye shape between this sort of group that's becoming one big group, with the white stones on the top, connecting to this middle left, and then also beginning to jump out. And then here, where white played a really detrimental shoulder hit, that white is still trying to recover from. Black plays a pretty clever shoulder hit here at f13. Really strengthening the group here around g10 and putting pressure on this white group, reducing it, making sure that it cannot just grow out into the center and surround one of black's groups or take a lot of the center. So, white defends its cutting point, make sure it's connected. Black then exploits the cutting points over on the top that I pointed out earlier. Now that black has this stone here at f13, by cutting here at g15, he can now connect up those stones and then begin cutting off this white group here completely. So leaving behind all those cutting points was probably a serious mistake. So we'll see how white responds. White defends, and then black goes ahead and connects up that cutting stone. White peaks at h12, forcing black to connect and trying to, make some shape for these 4 stones up here, because now they're cut off into the center. Where are they going to go? How are they going to live? White needs to start expanding and building something. So black defends, and then white goes down to the corner, the left-hand corner again, for that juicy first line territory, and Atari's at Blackstone at b3. Now, this could be part of a larger strategy because we can see that it's threatening to disconnect this black group here in the lower left, and if white can live, it can then completely surround that group. So we can see perhaps white is trying to go for a big kill to make up for his losses in other areas. But again, that's leaving this center group weak. That's leaving this top left group weak when they are under attack. So at this stage in the game, white must be thinking, I need to go big or go home. But not really go home because there's a few more games in the tournament. So, white Ataris, and then black Ataris forcing white to capture and connecting black up to those 2 black stones. Then black takes this middle group and descends, trying to connect up with the lower left-hand corner to make sure that white cannot enclose them, as white wishes to do. White extends, cutting off that attempt, so black again jumps out. So white then jumps out because white doesn't want to get surrounded in its attempt to kill black. Black peeps to make white heavy, and then black begins counterattacking that lower group. White defends, and black extends out again. White defends again. Finally, white is getting some territory beyond the first line at move 108. So good for white. Black keeps backing out. So white plays the diagonal here to keep pressure on this escape. But it looks like black is now connected to the big lower right-hand corner. So it looks like black's group in the lower left is now going to live after this turn here at m4. So it looks like white realizes that too, and then goes back to the center to defend that very weak group. So with this move, it looks like white is trying to extend out from these 4 stones and create some more space here, and also threaten to connect up over here with these 2 white stones and this group on the right-hand side, which is probably one of the more secure, but not totally secure, because there's an invasion point right here that black can still jump in there. So white is giving it his best shot. And black then jumps up from this peeping stone to then threaten to just come in here and disrupt what white is trying to build. White goes back and connects, which is a pretty solid move here at f16, defending the white stones here and trying to make sure that they don't get, if this group gets cut off, that they don't get cut off and murdered as well. So black turns, continuing to attack the center group. White tries to defend by jumping down. Black Hanes. White connects, so he doesn't get disconnected. Black extends. White makes the bamboo shape. And then black jumps out again, trying to make sure that white cannot connect up to the base down here on the middle right-hand side. And also breaking the ladder. Now, this another really clever move from black, which is why I really wanted to review this game, because we see like black is just making these like really clever moves and white is just kind of like throwing the stones on the board with like some inspiration from AI. And so black plays this ladder breaker because we can see if white tries to play this ladder now. Doesn't work. Continuing to cut off that group in the center and playing the ladder breaker, white goes back and tries to then surround, then try to cut off some black stones in the center, still trying to build up that center because, like the lower left-hand corner, which didn't work out, white needs a big kill to get back in this game. Black connects, and then white cuts off these 2 black stones up here, or tries to. And also building more shape for itself. Then black plays what is a pretty painful move, I think, for white. Black goes back and cuts off what white didn't connect at g7. So now that left-hand group is completely disconnected from the center. At this point, and white, all these stones in the center, white's going to have to try and make live, either by connecting out to the right, making a big kill in the center, or maybe going back and trying to kill these 2 stones here to connect back up to this group, which is also not yet... I was going to say not alive, but maybe it could be alive. We'll see. We'll see. But white has a serious issue here in the center of the board. So white realizes that and begins trying to build up again in the center. Black takes this stone and also threatens to cut off this stick here from what white is building up there. White continues to surround those black stones in the center, so black jumps out and also attaches to that somewhat weak right-hand group. So, again, another clever move by black that is doing multiple things at once. White defends, because that's really like white's biggest potential territory right now. If white loses that, the game is really completely lost. So black makes a really great move here. The horse face shape, which not only caps this stick here, threatening to kill it, and disconnecting it from the group on the right, but making more shape for those two stones. The one space jump above, so that white can't cut through, or it'll make it harder for white to cut through here. So again, another very clever move, doing several things. White counterattacks in the center, still trying to build that up. Black takes that stone, and then white says, "Nuh-uh, you're not cutting me off." Attaches to the top of that horse face stone, and threatens to connect through. Black seems unperturbed and plays away, threatening to to revive the stone over here that can be killed, and also cut off these two stones on top and take an even larger corner, a massive, massive corner for himself. White says no, we're not going to do that. So black descends, then cutting off this group, saying, hey, if you're not going to give me my one stone in that big corner, then I'm not going to let you live in the center. So then white tries to extend into the corner, saving that that failed or deserted invasion at the top. Black says no. White Ataris. Black connects. And that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So white takes those stones and tries to connect them up with the center group. And black doesn't care. Says, okay, I'm just going to disconnect completely that stick that I've been attacking on the bottom from that group you have up there in the center, which still has no eyes. So we'll see how either of those things try to live. White turns in the corner, trying to make something work up there. And then Hanes. Black defends. White nose hits the two stones up there. Really trying to exploit as much of that unsettledness up there in the right-hand corner. And black, like I said before when white first threw that stone up there, it looks like if black just defends solidly, white's not going to really do anything. So that nose hit, black's not afraid of. Black thinks he still has the corner. So he moves in again, cutting off these four stones because white can't connect here. Otherwise, black will completely block them off and kill them. So, again, just sort of dismembering white's center. And without that center, or without a big kill, white is really in trouble. So white continues attacking the right-hand corner, hoping something will happen. Black connects. White extends down into that big rectangle that black was building, which could hurt. But again, look at white here. If white doesn't live in the corner, then these stones here will have to kill this stone and try to make life here to make this move even matter. But black will defend anyway, because if white does end up living, which he might with, like, you know, his only good group on the board right now, black doesn't want to lose all that territory, that sweet rectangle that he built. So white then attacks the corner again, really trying to make this work, but it is too late. Black plays the Atari on those three stones and secures the corner. So white keeps building up in that old rectangle of blacks. Black defends. White drops down in the top left. Again, trying to counterattack them and take this black stone here. and build more territory, sort of in this top left area. Black says, you know what, that's small. I'm going to keep attacking your middle. So he hanes the stone in the horse face here to continue cutting off that stick of 4 stones. Or the 3-stone stick and then the diagonal. White ascends. And black connects to defend. Then white goes back again, continuing to attack the top, trying to make territory wherever it can. Because right now, so white will have some of this, has this single line territory down here, and these 2 and 3 line territories here, and then some stuff on the left. But that's not enough to make up for black's big corner here, black's big corner here, whatever black makes here. All the stuff already pretty much dead in the center. So white needs to start building territory wherever it can. Black defends from that attack. White Ataris. Black defends again. White begins building an eye for that group here in the right, top right. Black defends his square over here, making sure it lives because now it's actually getting surrounded. White ascends, black cuts off white. It would probably be better for white to just connect underneath at this point. White might be trying to go for a cut here at J16 and continue attacking the top because white is just in sort of an all-out attack right now to keep this game going. But instead, white descends here, black descends, cuts it off. So then white hanes, attacking this group here, but that doesn't really do much because then black just captures, since that corner was already secure. So white drops down in the left, continuing to build up the top. Black attacks those 2 stones, making sure he's alive. Then white goes back to the center, trying to rescue the stones there, trying to cut through, but black says no. Again, white pushing through, black defends. White then begins trying to attack black in the center because now that white is almost completely cut off, many of the groups in the center, at least two of the groups in the center are cut off. White needs a kill in the center to live, to save a lot of those stones. Black says, yeah, you know what? Take these stones right here, these 2 stones. I'm just going to defend here to make sure you stay cut off and don't cut through me. So white connects up and saves these 2 stones here. Black cuts them off, allowing white to take. So now white has this group with 1 eye pretty much cut off and dead. And then this group here, which this is a false eye, and white may get an eye here. So this group is pretty much dead unless white connects up here by killing this stone and building and staying alive on the right-hand side. But then all the territory will come from whatever white can salvage here, salvage in the lower left, and a tiny bit on the mid-left and top left. So white has a severe territory shortage after being completely cut off in the center and having those 2 big groups killed or reduced to nothing. So black connects up here, saving those 2 stones and crucially preventing the cut from white killing them and connecting up these 2 dead groups to the white stones here. That would have been a huge move by white, but he was too busy defending all his weak groups to go back and make it. So white connects, defends the cutting point, still trying to salvage that group with one eye in the center. Black then connects up here, continuing to enclose the center, and now beginning to attack these 4 stones here. At this point, white cannot run anymore. White realizes the game is over and resigns. So, this, I think, was a fascinating game. I may have really gestured a lot towards Black's dominance throughout it, but Black really played a lot of clever moves. I really enjoyed reviewing this game and going through it. And it's not the only one. Interestingly, there are 2 more games already played in the Samsung Cup final between these 2 players. And the next game is just as crazy, but in a wild way. I think white from this game goes to play black and changes up his strategy completely. So I think I may take a look at that one too, depending on if you guys like this one. So if if you enjoyed it, let me know. Comment, like, subscribe. Tell me any things you noticed in the game that I may have missed. Let me know if you wanna review the second game or the third game. We'll see what happens. So thanks for watching, and until next time.